By the way, we have our 365 Sports Pick'em contest each and every week. Garrett, I have what?
I got second place last week.
You got second place this week, yes. John Otwell was our winner. So congratulations to John. Very happy for him. And, he's going to get a $100 gift card. So, Garrett,
I needed this.
You needed some wins.
I think the ones I missed were I picked TCU, like I mentioned a while ago, which I shouldn't have since I picked UCF to go to the championship. And then the other one that got me, what was it? I can't remember the other one that got me. It was pretty good. It was a good week for me.
Yeah. John is a UTSA fan. So let's see. I am 19-11. So of our group, I am 19-11. And then let's keep scrolling here. Smokey is now 18-12. He had a good week. Let's see. I have not seen. Craig might have forgotten to do his picks because I don't see him in here.
He did that a couple times last year too.
Yeah,
or flipped them.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I lied. The leader among our group is Jack McKenzie. He is 20-10.
He whooped me last year when we did our picks.
Yeah, so
he smoked me.
Yeah. I'm scrolling. Maybe I have to go to another page, or there's another page. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out before the show, for sure. So, but week 4, picks are in or picks are up, so you can go to that and do that now. And have your chance to win $100 gift card to TexasBeefHouse.com. Some quick NFL news, by the way. Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young has been benched by the Panthers. So,
I don't really watch the NFL. I'm just gonna be real. So, is that more indicative on him, or is this just that organization is a disaster, or both?
I think that they're just not good enough any way, shape, or form right now, and I'd rather bench him and protect him than throw Andy Dalton out to the Wolves.
Yeah.
Throw him out to the Wolves and see what happens. But anyhow, all right, let's talk about it. The Texas Longhorns are really damn good.
Yes, they are.
And Georgia went out against a Kentucky team that could not score the last 2 weeks and won 13-12. Carson Beck is a good quarterback. Garrett, am I wrong in thinking he might be a little bit overhyped?
I don't know that he's necessarily overhyped. I don't think he's overhyped. I just think he gets the benefit of the doubt because Georgia's been so good, and he appears to be slightly more entertaining to watch than Stetson Bennett. Mm-hmm. And I think that plus the NIL bump and the exposure that he's gotten probably comes across. But I don't think he's necessarily – he's not – I don't think he's – I don't know. He's okay. He just doesn't live up to the billing that he's made out to be.
No. I mean, they have not –
But he doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be like a –
No, but when I think about the best quarterbacks available, like the ones who are going to put up the most numbers, the ones who are going to be, to me – like, he's still going to be a high pick, but Quinn Ewers, who's hurt.
Always hurt.
Yeah. Quinn Ewers, Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward, those guys right now are standing out to me. And we'll see how it goes from now to the end of the year. So, but, yeah, I just like there was no reason for them to only score 13 points in that game. And, look, Kentucky brought it on defense, but their offense is –
Well, I mean, I think you got to expect that for Kentucky. The way you went out the week before, it just did not show up whatsoever, and you knew Stoops was going to come back with a vengeance in that. So I'm not surprised that Kentucky's defense came out and played well, and I'm also not surprised that Georgia played down to an opponent like they have a tendency to do at times. So it's one of those situations that it's weird, it looks odd, but Texas rightfully is number one because they went out and handled their business in Georgia. I kind of feel like this was going to happen eventually anyway, and I still think they go in and get smoked by Texas in a couple of weeks regardless. So, I mean, I think it's about right for Georgia to be at number 2.
Yeah. So, I think it's I mean, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. But Texas is hitting on all cylinders. Now, granted, they've yet to be challenged. Mm-hmm. And they have Louisiana Monroe and Mississippi State, I think, are their next 2, and then the bye week. So I think Arch Manning's just going to play those games, and they're going to let Quinn Ewers get healthy for the stretch run, and then their schedule starts to get tougher. Like This is where they had a nice little front loading, and look, their overall SEC schedule is the opposite of Florida's or Oklahoma's. Who, I mean, their
they
schedule.
Tennessee this week. Woo.
Yeah, they get Tennessee this week, and that's woo. But yeah, so Mississippi State off. Then you have Oklahoma, which again, I don't care what happens to Oklahoma in the next 2 weeks. That game will be nuts. Georgia at Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia.
Yeah. So they get Georgia after Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Do they get a bye, or is it just
No. Woo-hoo. Oklahoma and Georgia back to back.
Then they have
Vanderbilt, and then they have the mighty Gators at home. The Arkansas, Kentucky, and A&M. So they've got their tough stretch here after the bye, and then it gets really a lot simpler until they go to Kyle Field at the end, which again, there's nobody else in the country that inspires the type of rivalry games that Texas does. So now having both of those back again and in the SEC, like that's going to be nuts. Mm-hmm. Like that's going to be absolutely nuts. So very impressed with Texas. They're good everywhere. And that's not a surprise, but holy cow, like they haven't missed a beat. Now, granted, Michigan's not good, but they still went up there and handled their business in a tough place to play. But they have not been tested to the level they will be against, say, Georgia and Oklahoma, who, again, that's going to be a test. But I think there's a reasonable shot that they may not, like even that game in Kyle Field is going to be full of emotions. They're a lot better than the Aggies are, talent-wise.
Right.
So if it doesn't get mucked up in the rivalry rigmarole, then there's a good chance that they roll through that one too, and then they're not really even challenged until they get to the playoff. And, I mean,
I don't know that I would like that, though. I think I would rather be challenged early on, maybe even take an L before going into the playoff and finally getting pushed, and then that be the time where, you don't know if you're ready for it or not. That kind of would make me a little nervous if I was a Texas fan.
Yeah. We'll see. Like, nobody goes through completely unscathed and all that, but if there's a team that has a really good chance to go undefeated this year,
I don't know. I think there's too many games for a team to go undefeated.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Especially now with Oklahoma and Georgia back to back, but they get Georgia at home.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. That's probably the first of two they're going to play against them. Yeah, but Garrett, you got to experience joy this week.
If you want to call it that.
What's that like?
I don't necessarily know that I call it joy. LSU got a win, but at the same time, it's another one of those situations where you kind of are left wondering who and what is this team. Mm-hmm. Caden Durham, the freshman running back from Duncanville, looked absolutely remarkable. He came out, he got his first action of the season, scored 2 touchdowns, looked like a vintage LSU running back that has power and speed and can catch. That was a breath of fresh air. I'm really concerned about Will Campbell at the tackle position. I know he's one of the best in the nation and everything, but he got absolutely worked on Saturday by the defensive line from South Carolina. Garrett Nussmeier, I mean, he's a good quarterback that can win you a lot of games. Their playmaking, they're not making plays. They're not taking advantages of like the playmakers on the outside. You had a couple of big plays down the field, but that was really about it. The defense is still trying to find itself. I think if Lenore Sellers, the quarterback for South Carolina, does not get hurt in that game, kind of like I said last year with the Duke and Florida State game, if Riley Leonard doesn't get hurt, I think Duke wins that game. Same thing here. I think if Sellers doesn't get hurt, this is a South Carolina win. You saw it from the fans. They were coming down ready to rush the field. And in South Carolina fashion, like we've seen for so many years, they just choke. So that's one where LSU's got to be just thankful that they came away with a dub. But I still don't have faith in this team. I don't know really what to make of them. And they have you should get a win this week taking on UCLA. But then after that, I mean, it's going to be interesting, man. It's really going to be interesting for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Good God. I mean, look, it's not like they're a bad team. It's a lot of people would, it's the expectation for the program where they're not living up to it and they're bad per se. They're still an 8-win team.
Yeah.
You know what? So it just is what it is, how you view it. But
yeah, they, I get you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. South Carolina is a lot better than I thought they were going to be, but they did lose their quarterback, and we don't know how long that's going to be. And that game turned quite a bit.
Yeah, Robbie Ashford, when he came in for Sellers, they could not do anything. Like LSU put the clamps on him. That's another thing too. Is like from the offensive side for LSU, there was a situation where they had the ball. They were about on the 5-yard line, working their way into the end zone. South Carolina was crashing in. They would have no fear whatsoever in a play action and Nuss going out and rushing for a touchdown. Like that was gone. So that's something that LSU is going to have to figure out. They're going to have to use Garrett Nussmeier's legs a little bit more to kind of make defenses back up and respect them a little bit, because if they can't do that, all you got to do is load the box on them.
Yeah. Well, and look, South Carolina with Raheem, with Rocket Sanders was fantastic.
He's so fun, man.
Yeah. Lenora Sellers. Laura Sellers was running the ball great. He was averaging 8.8 yards a carry.
They could not stop Sellers, man.
Yeah, they could not stop him. But and look, he was passing efficiently except for the pick, 9-16, 113. He was getting it done when he had to. But I really, Caden Durham, Caden Durham might be the answer to all your prayers, Garrett.
I think he's about I don't know if he's the answer to all the prayers, but he's the answer to that running game.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Little squatty Emmitt Smith build.
Man, he is
5'9", 205.
I didn't realize his mom was like a track star at Oklahoma until they were talking about that. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Harold Perkins had a fumble recovery. I like what I've seen out of how they're moving him around a little bit more this year.
I do, but they're not. Yeah. They're still struggling to find. And at this point, I'm kind of wondering if it's Perk, because if you're getting all the opportunities. Blake Baker's putting you in every position imaginable to try to figure out what works best, and you had like one big blitz. So I'm kind of to the point now where I'm getting off the coaches side of the blame for the coaches and wondering how much of this might be Perk not just adapting and progressing as he should as a player.
Yeah. I wonder if he would, in the grand scheme of things, like if he doesn't decide to go, which I think he's going pro after this year.
Oh, he should. Yeah,
he should. But if he doesn't, if he would, out of frustration, transfer and say, I'm going to go someplace that's going to. I don't think he's not. I don't think he has anything to prove as far as transferring. I don't think that would raise any draft stock for him. Yeah.
I think honestly, if you're a defense, you're looking at him and saying, okay, we see what he can do. We know what he can do, and you also see the weaknesses, and you're thinking, okay, well, we'll just build up on that. I just thought he would be more of like a Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't become that yet.
He had that potential at
Absolutely.
freshman year, and then now that's not the case. So, coming up on the program today, by the way.
How's Florida State?
What?
How's Florida State?
I mean, why do we have to talk about them?
I mean, I was just asking.
They're 0-3. They're 0-3, and they have a lot of things have intersected on them. Mm-hmm. And I will say this: you live by the portal, you die by the portal, buddy. You do. And so the Cam Ward thing is always going to bother me because he might have been going to Miami anyway, but FSU didn't want to wait 10 days. Like, he was going to push it all the way to the end and make his decision, which is what he did. And I don't know why they had to rush DJU in there. I don't. You know, I think they just felt more comfortable doing that. I also think because they honed in on DJU and Cam Ward, they did not investigate, you know, some guys from some smaller places that
like
were a little
Diego Pavia?
El Rincon? Are you talking about my boy El Rincon?
Yeah.
Yes. Diego Pavia, the rascal. Absolutely. That's one that, like, just, I mean, go find a guy with, like, the thing about DJU, and this is the biggest drop-off from quarterback to quarterback that Florida State's ever had. Ever had. Like, even James Blackman, who I believe is the worst quarterback they've ever had.
He was pretty brutal.
It was progressive, right? Mm-hmm. It was progressive. This is like mountaintop to the ground.
It's crashing. Okay.
And that's why it's like a huge drop off. And like Jordan Travis, and he went through it, man. He didn't want to be the quarterback anymore. He wanted to move into wide receiver. And then Mike Norvell and the coaches got with him and said, no, you're the quarterback. We can believe in you. And I think they thought they could do that with DJU. I just don't think he has it here anymore. Confidence-wise, it's all muddled up here. He is what he is, and he's not the biggest problem, because the bigger problem is
defensive line's terrible.
Yeah, it could play better. I have a theory that they're not playing confident because they know that, like, if it's 3rd and 11, this is over, right? If they make one mistake and give up a 1-yard loss, the drive's over. It's over. And so I think that they're not playing with confidence because they know that they can't pick it up like they did before. So I think that would get better if you change the quarterback and shot some energy into it. But it tells me a lot. Like, the depth chart's out for this week, and nothing's changed. Mm-hmm. So,
well, good luck with that.
You live by the portal, you die by the portal, and their high school recruiting has to get better, which means if he's got to upgrade the staff, then he's got to upgrade the staff. And I don't think that means firing people necessarily, but when some of those guys that you can upgrade get job offers somewhere else, you can let them go.
Yep.
Like, you can let them go and you can upgrade the staff. So I think because they've got a good staff, not a great staff, he needs to get those guys in there who can absolutely recruit.
Yeah.
There's one here in Waco I think would I would love to see him have, given the confidence that he recruits with here. I'm not saying I want them to take him, but like Keenan Hall, who's the running back coach at Waco in Baylor right now, he recruits with a confidence, and he's not going to be at Baylor very long. I can tell you that right now. Like, a couple years max before somebody's like, oh, this dude can recruit. We're taking him. So if that's the case, if somebody's just going to take him anyway, I want him to go in a place that I enjoy.
Well, you want to reap the rewards. Okay.
I don't want somebody to get the job at Florida and be like, you know, that Keenan Hall can help us get a corner on Texas, and be like, no, no, you can't have him. He's here, or he's in Tallahassee, or he's nowhere. You know, I don't want – those are the kind of coaches they need to look for.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. They don't have closers. If you look at all these guys they get down the line with, starting with Travis Hunter and then a litany of other guys, they are committed and ready to go, and then they just poof.
Yep.
It's like right at the end. So they've got the guys, and then – so whatever they're doing, they're not closing. And I want them –
find the closer.
I want ABC. Always be closing. Always be closing. Yeah. First place is a Coupe de Ville. Second place is a set of steak knives. Third place is you're fired. So that's what I want. I'm going full Glenn Ross here. But yeah, live by the portal, die by the portal. And they made so many good decisions, and they got so many good guys. And look, Johnny Wilson wasn't all that great when they got him, and they coached him up. You know, he got healthy and he got good. Keon Coleman was just playing with a really crappy quarterback. And then all of a sudden he's playing with a star, and look what happens. Jaheim Bell needed to play with a better quarterback. Look what happens. Trey Benson was kind of blocked where he was. He was a superstar. They lost all of those guys. They're all gone. And Jared Verse was at Albany. Braden Fisk was at Central Michigan. This all worked out for them, which is why when they went to get a quarterback, I was surprised that they definitely went big school instead of going, well, who is in the portal that is on the way up? Like DJU is on the way down. Like that's where you do. And I think had they made a different decision, they wouldn't be 0-3 now. I don't know if they would be 3-0, but they would not be 0-3.
No, I agree with that.
They would not be 0-3. And the defense played better against Memphis. It played a lot better. I thought they kept Seth Hennigan pretty well contained, but I mean, you muff punts and you throw interceptions and you have fumbles. Like again, it doesn't matter what the defense does when the offense goes, "Hey, we've upped your degree of difficulty to a 30."
Exactly.
Like this was a 6 and now it's a 30 because we muffed a punt, and we muffed a punt because one of our blockers didn't know where he was and backed up into the return guy.
Right.
So, those are, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated, but here's the thing. Seasons come, seasons go. That's it.
That's all you need to know.
That's it. This one is already over. It's already over. Now, they might play better and get to a bowl game, and maybe I'll get excited about some of the younger players.
The 12-team playoff doesn't matter, Paul.
But yeah, exactly. So I might get mildly excited let's face it. If they get to a bowl game, it's going to be December 21st. But on December 21st, I might get excited and go, oh, that guy can run. But other than that, wah, 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 wah.